Hi, it's Dave from Driving Venture. Welcome back to the channel and another Costco Drives. And I am driving solo once again. I just couldn't tempt Emily to join me. But never mind. It doesn't matter that much. I actually like her to pop into the videos every so often, puts a different dimension on the channel. I have had a few people contact me and say, a few friends actually as well, say, I need a dog. I have actually got a dog, Poppy the Wonder Dog. I put her on my Instagram in the past. I put her on the Instagram for some time. Anyway, maybe Poppy the Wonder Dog should make an appearance on the channel. But anyway, in today's video, as I begin this journey I make every week to Costco, we are going to talk about the 911R. Now, what can I say about that car? And the video, I mean, just hopefully it's done the car justice. Because, you know, just getting in it was a dream. It was just an absolute dream. You know, I remember when that car was launched and I thought to myself, wow, what a car, you know. There we go. And it's now been out 5 years. 5 years. Hard to believe that. But the car didn't feel dated. It didn't feel that it needed to be newer, if you like. Although, of course, the interior was running the same switchgear, same PCM module and setup as my Spider I had, my 2015 Spider. Anyway, the thing that stands out most about the R for me is the way it looks with those classic stripes, the bonnet, the roof and the rear of the car, those red stripes, or of course if you have them in green, you could have them in green, and perhaps you could have them in other colours. I think I've seen them in like a GT silver one, a black one, and for those very, very, very lucky Porsche customers that manage to get a paint sample in an R, well, they're even more rare. I mean, I don't know. I do know someone who had a GT silver one without any stripes. That looked really good, and then it was sold to the guy I know. It came without the stripes on, and now it's got it's had the green stripes. I think the green on the GT silver looks absolutely incredible. So a rare car commanding decent premiums. I'd like to drive a touring just to compare the two. I thought the suspension was quite busy. It was very engaging, very raw, but with that Sharkworks exhaust, just popped. And the upshifts and the downshifts, it was actually the upshifts I noticed the most, because when you did the upshift you also got a rev match, and I didn't notice that. I don't think I had that in the Spider, and I don't think I noticed that in the GT4 or the 718 one or the 718 Spider. Didn't notice that, but there we go. An amazing car. I mean, imagine this, a 2-car garage. It's actually more than that in this chap's collection, but you've got 9974 litre, 911R. Which one do you pick? But obviously I think you'll have seen both of those cars in the video, and they've been on my Instagram, some of the shots and some of the reels of the car on the road and it just driving along. It's just sometimes I think Porsche look better when you're actually watching somebody else driving the thing rather than, you know, driving it yourself. But anyway, we're coming to the bumpy bit of the journey now. English roads, don't you just think that English roads, just talk about this for a couple of minutes, the English roads, absolutely rubbish. I've driven in Spain, I've driven in France, I've driven in Germany, I've driven in Holland. I have never come across roads as rubbish as the British roads. Absolute rubbish. Just potholes everywhere. Just coming over the bridge that gets me out of my village there onto the A57 here, you know, just potholes everywhere, and they'll just come along and they'll just put a little bit of tarmac in, and then, oh, that's the job. But it doesn't last 5 minutes, and that's the thing. Get me on the bandwagon now, but we could talk about the roads beyond how poor they are and the state of disrepair they're in. I'm just coming up on this roundabout now, you almost lose your front bloody wheel. The other thing about the English road, which is a complete disaster, is a lack of forward thinking. I mean, why didn't we do 6-lane motorways in the 70s? Why are we having all this disruption now? I had to drive down to Stretton near Derby, and then up to Cumbria near Penrith, and on to Keswick for some client meetings yesterday. A long day, just under 400 miles in this car. And yeah, it's quite thirsty. I would have managed it on one tank, but I did top up at Keswick before I came home. But anyway, on these roads of ours, they're just absolutely horrible, and you're frightened you're going to damage your wheels. It's so bad. But anyway, no forward thinking, and again, going through all of these roadworks and reconfigured roundabouts and interchange system, no one thinks ahead. Also in the video, I'm going to talk about my passion for the Daytona, because I'm wearing this watch again. It isn't a watch I've had on since, I think it was the first time I did a Costco Drives and I talked about my Daytona. I was in two minds. I originally wanted a black one, but they're both so Moorish, the dials. I think the plan will be is a few years will roll on. Obviously, my dealer at Whittles, they've managed to get this one for me, and I will ultimately, I think, have a black one as well. I just think the black's edgy. I think it's a bit younger, a bit fresher for me. So yeah, I think a black one will come eventually, but I'm not in a rush. I've got this one for now, and it's just a dream watch. But my passion for the Daytona, I suppose, it's because of all things motorsport. And now Rolex have had the contract for Formula One sponsorship for some years. That makes an exciting brand, but I would say Rolex is right up there with probably the world's best brands you can think of, just right up there for me. And it's just the history, it's Paul Newman. That watch they sold for, is it $15 million? Yeah, with the white and the black subdials, the Paul Newman Daytona, the Paul Newman Daytona. It's just you're part of that, really. It's part of Rolex history. It's part of what makes the brand so special. I think every brand needs product in the lineup that you can't get or is hard to get, because I think it brings up the other aspects of the brand or the other products in the brand. It brings it up. For me, that's I think whether they actually sit down and think, yeah, that's what we're going to do or not, I don't really know. But when you make something hard to get, then I think that's when people want it even more. We see that with the GT product. And again, let's talk about this bit. So let's talk about paint to sample and GT3 992, because Porsche have said and granted paint to sample allocations for some of their cars, and I think that's an exciting development, because the 991.2 GT3, no paint to sample. It was available in some of the Weissach cars, which came very late on, but I think it was good to see that Porsche recognised that. I think for lots of people, the British customers were seen maybe as the poor relation, and we couldn't get it, and the Americans were getting it, and people in Europe. But I think the reason for it is because the way the Germans do things is they're so meticulous and organised, and they just have a batch of cars they're going to produce, and this is when we're going to do it, and this is where we're going to supply them to this country, and that's it. And as I said in my video about the Boxster Spider allocation for paint to sample, just get past this lorry, and away we go. It's something you've got to be early with when they offer it to you. I know people have contacted me saying, well, we've asked about it, we were told no. Well, yeah, it's basically going to be no for probably 98% of the people who get a Spider. You're not going to get it, and also GT4. Although I did watch a little bit of Instagram content from RPM Technique, and they had quite a number of 718 Boxsters in all at once, and they were having a car graphic. Oh yes, fruity. And they're having a car graphic modification, which allows the exhaust flaps to open, not just at 4,000 revs and above the sports exhaust, but also below that, so it makes it sound a little bit better. Because I think that's the only thing about the 718 for me, was just the sound. And I say I have conceded that I think the sound's better than maybe I originally thought it was, after having spent a bit of time in a GT4 there when I reviewed it. But I think it's not at 980, 981 level, and that's what the Sharkworks system's going to do for my car when it comes. So, also in today's video, let's talk about some rumblings around conrod problems for the 718 GTS, GT4 and Spider engines. There was a little very, very short production run of cars where the conrods were found not to be up to scratch. So I think Porsche, like they've always done, they're going to put things straight, but it's inconvenience of it all if you've been unlucky enough to fall prey to that with having had a delivery. I'm certainly obviously hoping by the June build, whenever it happens in June, that I don't have problems like that. There's nothing worse than getting a car and you've problems and recalls which are serious, you know, particularly around the engine, when, you know, it's not really what you want. Okay, so also in this video, let's talk about this car and my other cars. We're now moving to a time of the year where I get the winter rubber off and I put the summer rubber on. So the RS is booked with Nine-Meister, so tomorrow it's going in for its winter tyres off and Cup 2 tyres on. And what I love about Nine-Meister is, because the centre lock, it's a specialist job, you just don't do it unless you really know what you're doing. You don't do it yourself. I mean, I would never take a wheel off, but you know, they have this special bar that's got the right torque, Newton meter pressure that can torque to get the nut undone. And then they have this special machine called the Hunter machine, and this machine rates the wheel with a tyre on and balances it perfectly up to like 180 mile an hour speed. So, you know, I've never been 180 mile an hour, I'm not going to go on 180 mile an hour, but you always notice it, the car, the balance and the feel in, you know, in the RS. That's the only car I have done there, but I have decided to have the E63 done there because I just think the balancing in that machine, it's just like no one actually touches the wheel. They put it on the machine and it's manless, it just does it. So it's quite fascinating. So the tyres are going on the RS, then the tyres will get swapped on this car the following week, and then my wife's Mini. And I do have a set of tyres for the Spider, winter set of tyres, which will go on that car later in 2021 when the weather gets cooler. But at the moment, we are enjoying nice weather. It only rained a little bit towards the end of my day yesterday. But this is another reason why I really enjoy this car, because it's a car which you can enjoy nice days driving in, and then you can take the A roads home and just have a bit of fun. And I think that's really, really good, because it's a car which has the performance on tap. But should it go for a Taycan Cross Turismo? And I guess I'm in two minds, because I think to myself, yeah, that Taycan really did blow me away, and that was only the 4S version. If you've seen that video on my channel, that was a really impressive car for me. But then I think to myself, yeah, handles well, goes quick, dynamics are impressive. But then I look at how many miles I did yesterday, driving all the way to near Derby, and then driving all the way up to Cumbria, and then all the way home. Well, that car wouldn't do that. And okay, yeah, I could stop and get a quick charge and put a few more miles in it. So I don't know. I'm in two minds. The tax brakes are good. So put my accountant an email into my accountant, said, well, this is what are the options? Because the attractive thing is the business can buy it, and then I don't have to take money out of the business and to fund the car. Imagine this as a benefit in kind on a company car scheme. I'd be absolutely hammered. So it's in my thinking. I certainly won't do anything till 2022, but it's just this car, you know, it's a car I've had, this is the third one, so I kind of like the capacity, I like the, I like the roominess, I like the fact I can get all the bits and bobs in I need and do the trips, etc, etc. And it does pick up well, you're just on your way. Okay. Now there was rumours, I watched a bit of YouTube recently, I watched Paul Thorpe. I should actually contact Paul and say, look Paul, your watch content's a lot better than mine, it's a lot more in-depth, it's a lot more knowledgeable, maybe he's even watched one of my videos, or maybe we should just give him a call or drop him a WhatsApp and say maybe we should do a collab, and I'll try and put some of my car viewers your way and you can send some of your watch viewers my way, but we're coming up on 2,000 subscribers now. I mean, it's on the YouTube. We've shot past 10,000 Instas. We're now at 10,300 at the time of this video going out. I think it's 15,000, it's 20. It's going the way I want it to go. But it's not that I don't want to do YouTube. I've said it before. It's just more time consuming, and there we go. I can also reveal that I have had the homepage and some of the content that the website is going to look like for the Driving Venture Club. I've seen that now, and I've made a few adjustments, but I've been given a long list of things I've got to do to populate the website and make it look as I want it to look. So I've got to do some homework and start populating it. I'm just hoping it does well. I'm just hoping we'll get people along and that we satisfy demand that I think's out there, because the hardest thing for me is going to be to decide the cars and what the criteria is, etc, because I think it's just, I don't know, it's just not easy to say no to people when I want to try and be inclusive and include everybody, but I can't unfortunately do that. So I'm just going to head in for some petrol, and then in part 2 I'll try and talk a little bit about this Daytona, which is a watch which I'm lucky to have. I think the rumours around a different one. I'm not sure. I just don't. I've seen some stuff again on. So I should come back to Paul Thorpe. Sorry, what he was talking about was a platinum Submariner. Don't think so, personally speaking. I don't think Rolex will put a platinum Submariner into the frame. Just can't see it. What colour scheme would they go for? Ice blue dial is typically what they put on all their platinum products. Just can't see it. So we'll be talking a little bit more about that. But I'm at the pump, and so it's part 2 next. So we are back in the cabin. So yeah, I didn't take this watch off my wrist, I don't think, when I talked about it before. But for those of you who've seen the video about this watch, this was a watch which I got after having been offered another one a few years before. But the Rolex Daytona in steel is, I think, with the white dial and that black and white contrast, a super watch. Now, what some people don't know about this watch, a little thing, is that the push buttons, the start and the stop one, which is the one that's at the top here, and then the reset one at the bottom. What some people don't know about this watch is when, what are these screw things for here? You sort of unscrew them, and that's got nothing to do with the waterproofness of the case and the mechanism. That actually just stops the pushers from going in when you don't want them to go in, and then for the watch then to become compromised with its waterproofness. So that's something which a lot of people don't realise. But I think the thing about this watch which is really stunning is the fact that they put the ceramic bezel on it. And if you want a ceramic bezel on the Daytona, you've got to go Oyster Flex or Platinum. It is rumoured that they'll put a ceramic bezel on all the gold models eventually. Also rumours around Daytona that perhaps to make it bigger, make the the case 41 millimeter, put a date in it, lots of things like that. And personally for me, I just don't think that would wash. I think it's an extremely traditional watch, and I am a little bit surprised they actually made the Submariner a little bit bigger too. But the white dial just pops, and the black sub dial contrast is super, and it's just a a dream watch to have and to own and to enjoy, and I'm so lucky I have one. So away we go. I've had a few comments from people about, I better not drive with those glasses on, or I'll be having a crash. I've had a few comments from people about the spec on the Spider, and you know, a couple of people are actually getting one that contact me relatively regularly, and also one chap, he sent me a really nice email about the car he's getting and about the spec and he's thinking, etc, etc. And I think I do take people's point about the ceramic brakes. When I had the original Spider, it had 911 brakes on it, 991 brakes on it, right? Now, that car, because it's light, it's not a car which was struggling to stock. So my ceramic brake tick is nothing to do with the car needing more braking performance, I think, because the new the 718 Spider, they've actually upgraded the brakes. The GT4 and Spider brakes are the same. They've actually upgraded them, so they're bigger. So you've got even more stopping power. So the fact of the matter is, you're not going to struggle. Just checking the microphone's been able to be picked up here. There we go. It's not a braking issue. It's more a weight thing for me, and maybe I'm wasting my money, but I just think it's. I also like the bigger discs, you know, in the front. The rotors, the bigger. The discs are just bigger, and I just think it sets the car off. But it's nice you can go for black, because then that, you know, the thing about having yellow caliper always meant that maybe other spec in the car having yellow caliper than other colours that didn't go with yellow could be a bit of an issue. So there we go. So yeah, that, and also a few comments from people about the yellow dials, and it takes me back to the video on the 911 Carrera T that I did. And I remember when my pal got that car and he had that yellow stitch in the dash and the yellow dials, and I just thought it really popped. And with me having colour dials in the RS, I just felt that it would be nice to go for the yellow to match the yellow stitch. You know, a leather stitch dash in yellow is going to look really good. I didn't go for the steering column because, you know, as I'm driving it, you can't even see the thing. You've got to be looking at it from another side, another aspect to see that, really. So there we go. It was just something I thought I didn't need to do. So here we go. We are now on the return journey. No treats for the girls. So that's Emily actually had to have a fill-in. I felt very guilty because she is a bit of a, she does like her sweets a bit too much, as you can see from some of the videos. And I think to myself, I've been a neglectful parent. I've been a spoiler. It's hard, you know, when you have kids. It's hard not to give them the things they want and things like that. But I've got to get her in the RS. I've got to get her in the sports car. She certainly loved the yellow car. We were out in that car so much, and she absolutely loved it. So onwards. So what cars have I got coming up on the channel? Well, like I've said in some of my previous videos, I'm going to be doing less full review videos when, you know, because really it's the cost to do them. And the lads who are supporting me, they're going to be front and centre stage with the club. They're going to be covering the content we do. So what will happen is the stuff the club does, the events themselves are going to help to produce the content, because we go on a drive, the guys over there will film it, we'll record it, we'll get the drive-bys. I mean, all the stuff you can just check out the Instagram, you know, the stuff we're doing, you know. But that sort of stuff, and having cracking photographs of your car is really, really important. So that's what's going to happen. And I think people that get involved with the club, they won't be disappointed with the photographs. I mean, it's so nice to send links to high-res photos from my friends, particularly the ones that obviously allow me to use their cars and review them. But a car which I have got my eye on, and a car I do very much want to review, and it is there unless it gets sold, is a 996 GT3 RS. So we are going back to school with that one. We are going back to the beginning, and it's a car which I want to get on the channel. The weather's picking up. so that's good. Obviously not got all the driver aids and all the rest of it that the newer cars have, but I am looking forward to putting that on the channel. When I'll do that, I don't really know. Just have to see. And some other, so I've got friends with the cars. We'll just have to see how we go, really. But I think by the time we get into the club rolling and people joining and the stuff we're going to do, that should, for me, populate the calendar in terms of, well, we can cover this and we can cover that and all the rest of it. So that's my plan. And the sun is setting. I don't really like the winter months. Too dark and dreary. A nice crisp winter's day is okay, but to get a bit of sun back and the country hopefully back to be able to do stuff. I've forgotten what it feels like just to go out with friends on a Friday. Just have a bit of a laugh. It's just been a really tough time for the country, and I just think there's a lot of pent-up demand and desire to get out and enjoy your car and do stuff, and I think that's coming right up. So that will be great. And I have had one or two people contact me about the Porsche Centre South Lakes, and we will probably do something around the centre when it opens, when we do like a bit of a video. Obviously it's great for them to get it out there, and we'll do some clips and stuff around the centre, because I'm hoping that we'll be able to use their facility perhaps to do some meets, and you meet the guys at the centre and you'll buy your next Porsche from them. And just in closing, I just want to say I was with my client there the other day, and he had his eye on a GT4, and I rang the centre. It wasn't Canada, it was a different centre. I rang the centre up and managed to do a deal. And so one of my clients actually bought a GT4. So I'm hoping he'll come along to some of the stuff that we're going to put on in the future. So there we go. I am on the way home. We are fully loaded with supplies. Can't wait to put the next review together. Thanks very much for subscribing. Those of you that are, if you're not subscribed, think about hitting the notification button and getting subscribed. And as always, I will see you next time.